I'm Bishop Jennifer Reddall of the Episcopal Diocese of Arizona, and reaching out to all of our congregations and clergy today with a question and a concern of just how is your soul doing? And I ask that knowing that my soul is pretty turbulent right now. I've cried a lot in the last weeks. I've had physical experiences of my heart racing for no reason except that I'm anxious and scared. I can feel in my body what is going on in my mind. My dreams are upset and bizarre, and I wake up confused. And I wonder if that's happening to you too. And so I come to you today not with a glib or quick answer that here is one spiritual practice that if you do, it will solve all of your problems, but with a message of reflection and shared experience and eventually possibly some hope. I know that for me, while the shift of the last couple of weeks due to COVID-19 has been big, I recognize that my life has been destabilized for the last 5 months. Since my son Nathan's massive stroke on October 22nd, life has not seemed normal, and I have had to let go of the normal relationships and routines and practices that would normally give me strength. And it has felt like death has been hanging overhead much closer than I usually am aware of. And somehow we have continued through 5 months of that. And so the last few weeks have felt like an interesting sort of continuation and expansion of that, because suddenly it's not just my life or our lives that have been uprooted and turned upside down. It's everyone's lives that have been turned up and uprooted and are held upside down. Today, when I was on a call with the House of Bishops, we got a good chart about the life cycle of a disaster in the elongated form. And when I looked at it, I thought, oh, here we are in Arizona. You have the pre-disaster, the heroic phase, the honeymoon phase, in which there's community cohesion going on. And then there's a long slide of disillusionment and conflict. And I wonder if some of our congregations and people are hitting that moment where we all came together, but the novelty of doing worship online and the novelty of all these new things and caring for one another is just starting to turn into a burden. And that will likely continue in the coming weeks and months. It will come as we are frustrated again and again that we cannot be there for people when they are in need, when we cannot be with those who are dying, when we cannot bury the dead the way that we are accustomed to doing by shouting Alleluia with a chorus of people at the grave. It's going to hit us more and more. And then eventually, though, we will work through our grief and come to terms with it, and then through some squiggles up and down, find a new normal. And sometimes just being aware of that cycle can give us the self-awareness to know that when suddenly we are upset, or the people around us are upset, or our systems and our congregations are in conflict, to know that, oh, okay, this is normal. This is just what the disaster is doing to us. Let's take a step back and take a breath and figure out how we're going to move forward. I've been thinking a lot about the Easter story in John's Gospel, the afternoon or the evening portion of it, where 10 of the 11 remaining disciples are locked in a room because they're afraid. And I'm imagining those 10 men locked in a room, kind of like a lot of us, locked in our own homes right now. And I remember that even though the doors were locked, Jesus appears in their midst. And I wonder how Jesus is going to appear in the midst of our own locked doors and our own locked homes. I don't know what it will look like. I'm waiting for it. But I I do know that when that happens, and when Jesus appears in our midst, inside our own homes, where we are afraid, that I will cling to that as a sign of the new normal. I want Jesus in my house to be the new normal, and pray that that may become true for me as it will for you.